Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to From the Depths with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome back to the Christmas campaign, now in the middle of January. So sadly, I've been a little bit slow with playing From the Depths since I came back from my Christmas holiday, because I've been a little bit under the weather, which, let's face it, isn't really a shock to anyone at this point. I apparently have the weakest immune system of any YouTuber to ever exist, because anytime someone gets sick around me, I then get sick as well, and then I can't talk, and I can't be bothered to make videos, and everything goes bad. But thankfully, right now, I'm finally feeling better, so expect the videos from after this one to be far more frequent. So anyway, in the previous video, we were attacked by the forces of the Christmas tree, and we almost lost. We came very close to simply losing the campaign. As it turns out, the enemies are actually very powerful. They definitely have a lot of the more competitive designs simply made to look all cheery and lovely. So in turn, we're going to stop being lovely, stop being cheerful and silly with our designs, and get back to some lovely, powerful weaponry. We now have 6 of these floating missile silos, which I will be upgrading to look a little bit more Christmassy as soon as we have a spare minute in the campaign, most likely looking like flying Christmas baubles or something like that, and then I am replacing the main gun, the confetti cannon, with these 3 cannons, which are all going to be 225mm gauge, and hopefully somewhat rapid fire, but don't worry, I will still be using the confetti look, so they will still be using the visible tracers to make them look a little bit more Christmassy as well. Right now, we are simply waiting for the enemies to attack us once more. I've also set up an anti-missile laser system, which currently isn't online, because I figured out it simply drains too much power, so I will have to rework that. And finally, before we cut into the future, I have also added a load more shields, which I'll just quickly turn on right now. That took way too long to find the control blocks to turn them back on, but here we are with our shields, and as you can see, they are simply layered shields. We have an outer layer and an internal layer, although they haven't quite been finished yet. I've been quite rushed, simply trying to build as quickly as possible. I really don't want to go into the sandbox mode, so I just built, and hopefully there's no enemies on the horizon. We still need to build a satellite. But the basic concept of this is simply a fragment shell will hit the outer shield, it will break upon those shields, which I believe are strength 5, the fragments then go forwards if they are indeed using an internal fuse, those fragments are then caught by the internal shields, and we do need a few more, like I say. One large one over here would be better, and perhaps a smaller one on the inside here, but either way, even as it is right now, it's definitely a lot better than the shield setup we had before, even if a little bit clumsily done and far too expensive. I've also added flares to these missiles because it looks pretty, and then I've also added a couple of extra sections of these, which of course are our missile defense, which use radar buoys along with sticky flares. Now, quite a few people were a little bit confused about how the radar buoys actually work in terms of deterring enemy missiles, and rightly so, because right now the tooltips haven't yet been updated, but if you go into the patch notes from the patch where the steam engine was added, or at least I believe it was that patch, you will see that the radar buoy does indeed distract the active radar seekers. Essentially, these have a really large false radar profile, which means the active radar seekers will go straight after them and then, well, hopefully go straight into the water. At least that's the basic concept. So don't worry, they do definitely work, even if it's a little bit weird when it comes to not really saying it in-game. When there's a game like this, where there's constantly bits changing from patch to patch, sometimes it does take a while to catch up. So, that was a really long intro, far too much talking, with my voice quickly broking. My voice is broken. Be right back when there's something interesting happening. About 3 minutes later, and now apparently in the night, it's time to test out these cannons and make sure their cooldown is actually working properly. So expect some very loud noise depending on how bad I am at editing and if I actually forget it's loud here. Oh my god, that just deafened me. I can't hear a thing. I am hearing ringing, and look at that. We could actually keep it as a shotgun cannon. That is, oh dear lord, there's enemies already heading towards us. Okay, that's not bad, and those are pretty nasty shells. Each one of them has 102 fragments. That's pretty cool. Maybe should have them less shotgun-like, though. Oh dear lord, I am deaf. Turns out, those enemies were heading towards us far quicker than I originally thought. Now, I did have just about enough time to add a couple more shields, add a little bit more armor, and do a little bit of testing with our cannons. So right now, the cannons are firing at 185 rounds per minute per cannon, and hopefully that is indeed sustainable. We will very quickly find out. And against us, we have the Candy Cane Submarine, the Spirit of Giving, and the Small Present. Now, the Small Present we've definitely seen before, and I'm fairly certain we haven't seen these two. Thankfully, this is quite a small attack force, so unless they are really, really powerful, we should be okay fighting them. So, let's just hope everything's working. After a bizarrely long loading screen, here we are finally in the battle. So against us, we have the Small Present, we have the Candy Cane Submarine, which has an adorable little advanced cannon, in addition to a lot of missiles, and perhaps even more hidden away, although these do look like torpedoes, although I could be wrong. We then have these two little trees. Oh, they are sub-vehicles of the Spirit of Giving, which, by the looks of things, is a cram cannon battleship. So what's up with the little trees then? Well, they have a lot of thrusters, so I can only imagine they're going to head towards us quite quickly. So, is it by any chance a weapon? Is it a bomb? Yes, it is. It has nukes. So, there are two nukes attached to the Spirit of Giving, and once again, the Small Present. Well, let's just see how we do then. Incoming our new shells, instantly going through the target and annihilating it. The Spirit of Giving has been removed from combat. A lot of missiles heading towards us, in addition to a weird blue line. Ah, that is the small advanced cannon on the back, and by the looks of things, it's just kinetic damage. No, that may be fragments. It's hard to tell. Are there frags coming through? Oh, yep, they are indeed frag shells. Enemy missiles being mostly distracted by our flares. Okay. That's nice to see. Ooh, one nasty hit there, but I think the shield absorbed a lot of it. The enemy trees are doing nothing, and where is the enemy submarine? Let's pause time for a second to regroup our thoughts. There's the enemy submarine, which is about to head straight into our shells. Come on, it's a little bit closer. Tiny little bit. There we are. Oh, wow. Oh, Lord. So many missiles just hit our front section. Has it got through to our cannons? Not yet. Do you feel the spirit of Christmas yet? Because nothing says Christmas like multicolored frag shells. That's a really hardy submarine, but finally being taken down. Missiles are being fired, but of course the enemy is underwater, so they can't even detect it. And by the sound of things, we've had some internal damage. We definitely have had some internal damage. What are we firing at now? Stop for a second. Just the main gun. What are we even firing at? Oh yeah, the trees! That's weird. I wonder why they never went forwards. A bit of a mess there in terms of the battle's coverage, me trying to figure out what was going on. But thankfully a victory. Let's just turn off all of these for now. And I'll turn a couple of them into torpedoes. So, what happened to you two? I'm assuming the spin block got damaged. Yes, indeed it did. And wow, we got a lot of resource from that. I can only assume the candy cane was like solid heavy metal or something, because that was ridiculous. Ooh. Oh no, that's not internal damage, that's the missiles exploding. Okay, let's turn you into torpedoes. The battle is now over. Sadly, it seems like the trees simply detonated all by themselves, and I've had a bit of a change of plan. Instead of converting one of our pods over and over again into torpedoes, the two bottom pods, which of course is this one and this one, are now permanently torpedoes, so we should be a little bit better against the enemy submarines. So, let's get back to work reinforcing ourselves, because that was a pretty easy battle, and we still had a hull breach, so a lot of work still needs to be done. I think now I know what I want to do with the two sides of this fortress, which honestly is starting to look absolutely terrifying and very fortress-like. I think I would like two railguns, one on this side, and of course one on the other side, both of them most likely shooting either a high explosive round, maybe a HESH shell, maybe a heat shell, not too sure. Either way, it's going to be something very, very interesting indeed, and something I don't really do all that often. So, just something different, something fun, and hopefully we can do it before the enemies get here again. Of course, sadly, this will mean removing the anti-laser system, which isn't currently on, because I removed the main block, the multi-purpose laser, before that last fight. I do want an anti-missile laser system, but it was too expensive for our limited resources at the moment. So instead we're making a railgun, because that's cheap. Test firing the railgun for the very first time. Ooh, hello enemies. Well, there are definitely enemies coming towards us, and this is a very, very fast, very nasty shell indeed. Apparently it went through a mountain. That's pretty good. I would consider that a very successful shell. Either way, though, that was just a test fire of a regular kinetic shell, and that will take around about 100,000 energy, which is a little bit harsh. Not too sure if that's really what I want to use, but since there are enemies apparently just over the horizon, I think what we need to do is just armor up these two guns, make sure it's all protected, and then hopefully it will work during the next battle. Also, yes, I know I shouldn't have added so many of these around the barrel, but it just looks so darn cool. The enemies have reached us, and against us we have the Lego Brick XL, we have the Guardian Angel, and the Small Present. Now, I'm almost certain that the Lego Brick XL does have shields, but I'm not sure about the Guardian Angel, and I'm not sure about the Small Present. The only reason why I'm bringing this up is because I didn't have enough time to set up a different shell type, so right now we are using purely kinetic shells, which will very easily be deflected by pretty much any shield ever. So let's put this pod back where it was, and let's get straight into the fight. I really need to make these sub-vehicles soon. Okay, everything should be on. Like so. Okay, was that the railgun? I believe it was indeed. Was it? It's hard to tell. Yes, okay, so where are the railgun shots? Maybe should have added a visible tracer, although that would have made them weaker. I have no idea where they've gone at all. I've lost them. Oh, I think that may be them hurting each other, though. I have no idea where those two shells just went. A lot of lag. Oh, wow. A massive amount of damage just went through this target. Was that the railgun? I don't know. I lost it straight away. So much lag right now. I think that's the enemy exploding from the inside. Yep, definitely. Wow, the Lego brick causing immense amounts of lag. Maybe that was from the railgun. It's hard to tell. The two Guardian Angels once again underwater. This happened last time. Thankfully, we do now, of course, have torpedoes, so they are being dealt with very quickly. And once again, torpedoes causing absolute devastation on the enemy. Yeah, I have no idea if the railguns just worked or didn't in that battle. It was over very quickly, though. And I'm going to look back at that footage, and I'm going to see if we even saw the railguns. Actually, what I should do is check what colour are the railgun shots naturally. Fire! Oh, they are green. In that case, I've got a hunch about where the railgun shot went. Either way, though, I'll be right back, just going to have a quick check. Okay, looking back, one of the very first shells we looked at was indeed the railgun shot. I, for some reason, thought they were going to be blue, so when I saw the green shell, I thought that was simply one of the frag shells from the main gun. Obviously, I was wrong. Now, sadly, both of the first two shells, you can clearly see in that last clip, were both deflected by shields, but they did hit the target after deflecting, so I will need to change the shell type. They are very, very cool, very interesting. I love kinetic damage shells, but they never seem to work, and in this campaign, with so many shields, they're just not good enough. So, I'm going to quickly change them to explosive of some kind, and then I'll be right back once I've done some more work. And apparently keep on clapping in real life. I don't know why I'm clapping, but I am. Ignore the ringing in the background. Apparently a church bell is going off, which may be a good sign for this shell type. So, with that shell there going off into the distance in its glorious green beauty, that was actually a fragment shell, which I know, boring as sin, especially with 3 fragment cannons in the middle, but these are a little bit different. They move at 900 meters per second, and they have 725 fragments. That's a lot of fragments, and a lot of damage, most likely enough fragments to kill pretty much every enemy we've encountered so far. So it's either going to be this, or explosive, and this would definitely be the better in terms of effectiveness, as it does hard counter shields, but explosive would be a little bit more different, and going down the route of brute explosive damage with a non-specialized shell cap would also be very, very effective, and would also get the same speeds. I'm not too sure just yet. We'll see how I feel before the battle. Thankfully, ammunition types are very, very easy to change very quickly. Nothing makes Elathrix happier than building a missile silo. Missiles have a special place in my heart, and they always will, and building them and adding more to this building is just simply bliss. And I think we can all take a little bit of appreciation that no matter the nerfs or the buffs that missiles will get in this game, because there is balancing issues between the weapons, there is no doubt about that, we are always going to love the humble missile, especially when there's a hell of a lot of them. Okay, testing out the happy weapon now. Let's see if this works as intended. They thrust upwards, and then after a short space of time, the thruster activates, and then they go flying forwards. Yep, that seems to be working just as intended. Now, they do have the one-turn element, as they are using infrared rather than the radar to give us a bit of variety in terms of what will counter us and what will not, which does mean that they do need the one-turn element, because infrared can only see essentially in front of them, whereas the radar seekers can see pretty much everything which is going on in the battlefield, so they don't need to be pointed directly towards the target in order to lock on. So that is definitely a strength of the radar and a weakness of the infrared, but it does mean, like I was saying, it gives us a bit more variety in what will counter us and what will not, because flares will counter these, but then it takes the radar boys to counter those missiles. Okay, all working well, so I'll just armor this up, and then we have yet another weapon on the fortress. Still waiting to be attacked. It does seem like the enemy attacked us in a wave, and then pretty much nothing else. The one good thing with having the railgun is I can essentially use the railgun shells as a scouting mechanism. So by the looks of things, we're not going to be attacked for a very, very long time, and it really does seem like the enemy are sending attacks in short bursts and then pretty much sending nothing else. We are still on ×2 in terms of how fast the enemy are fortifying, are creating groups, so we are probably going to be attacked at least somewhat soon, but for now we can actually focus on being aggressive once again, and a bit less on our fortress. Right now, our fortress is going to be very, very difficult for pretty much anything to take down. I would say the only weakness we have right now is against particle cannons and against lasers, and even that could be very, very easily rectified. The last thing I need to do, very briefly though, before we become aggressive, before we build some new vehicles, is reinforce the bottom of the fortress. As you can see, this whole section is completely open because I didn't have enough resource at the time to start fortifying the less attacked sections, which pretty much simply translates to its butt. So that's what I'll be doing until the next episode, but for now I am going to call it. In the next episode we will be building some new vehicles, being aggressive, and hopefully building something a little bit more interesting. I hope this video's been at least somewhat attention-keeping, and I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that From the Depths is a series you wish to see continued in the future. In the next episode, I should hopefully be a bit more awake and even less ill, and able to speak less robotically. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.